every single day. I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day, I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hello guys, this is Kelly from Kelly's Unexplained, and I am here with my good friend Patti Negri. I'm going to say good friend. This is the first time we've met face to face, but I'm going to go ahead and just consider her a really good friend. I kind of got to know her more on a personal level with Paraflix, and I'm a content producer for Paraflix. She is one of the executive producers, and just kind of networking with her there. Now, I've obviously been a fan of her for years and years and years, as I know most of you have as well. She is absolutely amazing. Her energy is like next level. She's just like a ball of sunshine. I don't know how you could not just fall in love with this beauty. So here we are. And it is my absolute honor. I'm totally fangirling with this chick right here. But here is my friend, Patti. Hey, my blonde beauty.
Yes, best friends forever. BFF.
BFF. Yes. I am going to actually.
I like it.
I'm going to send you a necklace like we did in junior high, and me and you are going to match.
Oh, yeah. Friend necklace. I like it.
Yes.
You look like we could be sisters. You could be my little sister, really.
100%. I was thinking the same thing.
I'm looking at you when I'm backstage and thinking, can you be my little sister?
Yes. I mean, you can adopt me and claim that. I'll change my name. I'll change my name. We could be sisters.
But Unexplained is such a good last name.
100%. You are so cute. Okay. So I know you've probably answered this question 100 times before. I have actually been researching you for days now, just to try to get to know you better. Like I said, I've been a fan of yours on Ghost Adventures for years and years. I've watched Ghost Adventures from season 1, every episode, every season. They're on 24 now, and I've been with them from the very beginning. They've actually been to Fort Smith, where I'm from, Fort Smith, Arkansas. Very few people have heard of Fort Smith, Arkansas, but they have been here. And I was so excited and humbled when they were here, and, watched you on the Black Dahlia, the new Cecil, obviously, when you met Charlie Chaplin. I mean, you are legit in every way. So it is a pure honor to be here in your presence. And I want to know about, I guess my first question is your childhood. Like I said, I think you've probably answered this before, but I've been researching you and watching a lot of your videos just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But you have experienced this from an early age as a child. And I don't know how much you want to talk about, if you want to go into detail, but can you tell me about your childhood? Because whenever I talked with Natalie last week, she had similar experiences as a child. I have not. And so I'm a total believer for sure, but I'm kind of interested to see why it sometimes happens to children and you and her versus me, it's just now happening to.
Well, I honestly think I have been experiencing since as long as I could remember, as long as I could talk. I just kind of knew those so-called imaginary friends little kids have weren't imaginary. They were real creatures and beings and spirits. It wasn't that dark and scary. Some were scary, some were friendly. They were my playmates. I thought everybody can see them. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think that kids can. And I bet you really could. But we, in our modern world, our Western world, our non-mystical world, what's great about the whole paranormal craze, besides with or without spirituality, is we're bringing back mystery and mysticism. It just gets taught out of us. Oh, that's your imaginary. No, it wasn't. So it just, logic has to take over in our modern Western world, and it doesn't. This other world really exists. So I think we are all born with it, differing degrees. Like everybody could take piano lessons. I took piano lessons for 3 years. You will never see me on a piano stage, but I can pound it out. I think differing degrees. I do think we can all develop it. Again, some of us, it just doesn't get taught out of. I was lucky I didn't have like families weirding out or thinking there was religious things that there was anything of the devil. So it didn't get taught out of me. And I was just this quiet, creative little kid. But like you, as an adult coming into it, it doesn't matter when or where. I think it's, that 90% of our brain we don't use, a lot of it is our psychic ability.
I have that question on a card later, and you've already answered it.
See, I'm psychic.
Imagine that. But, I tried to remember back. I had a really horrible childhood. I don't know if you know my story. I don't really tell it a lot. And I wanted to see if you kind of picked up on it later in the broadcast, but I didn't have a good childhood that supported it. And I actually, one of my coping mechanisms as a child was to block out a lot of memories, and the pain that went with it. And so I'm trying to remember if I had any experiences, and nothing comes to mind. I didn't have a religious background. I didn't have a family that supported it or denied it either way. So I'm trying to remember, and if nothing is coming to me at this moment.
Okay, what happened to you? Do you remember something? And it didn't have to be tragic or anything like that, but something that I think that shut you down a little right here when you were about 3, really young. I'm adjusting. Did you move or have a change of family dynamics or something right around age 3?
I'll tell you a little bit, and you're pretty close on it. My father died at age 5 of skin cancer. And my mother my father was actually married to another woman whenever I was born. My mom was the woman on the side, and his family didn't know about me for a long time. And he actually married my mom when I was 3. I was the flower girl at their wedding. And that's when he finally admitted that I existed, and to his family. And so within 2 years, he had already passed. And it was I think he lived 6 months after the diagnosis. Melanoma kind of came pretty fast. So I didn't grow up with him, and my mom did not take it well, for sure. So she kind of went a different route after that tragic death. So that whole period was pretty hard, but 3 years old would be the time he married my mom. Yeah.
Okay. So I would say at about that time, you thinking like a 3-year-old, like if we were in session right now, if you were a 3-year-old, I'd have you go figure out your 3-year-old. I think you took on this sense of what reality versus is what a little girl is. And again, I talk very much left brain, right brain, left logical reasoning, 1 + 1 = 2 brain, right creative, intuitive, spiritual, artist. I can see both brain. I think when you had to go into this marriage and see what your mom was and see all this stuff, as a 3-year-old, you put a little shield up to, this has to be this role. I have to be this. I'm supposed to be this. This is always, and you're one of the many that put it right here. Do you ever catch yourself holding your breath?
Well, and yes, all the time. In fact, during labor, and both of my children, they were natural, no medicine. I had both of them within 3 hours, and I remember that, you know how you're supposed to breathe during labor. I would hold my breath the entire time. And then the doctor said, you need to stop. You're going to pass out. You've got to breathe. But yes, I'm the oldest. And so I felt a very protective motherly role, with my family and my brother. I felt like I had to be the adult and protect him and grow up.
The fun and the this and the that, and you had to live real world. And a 3-year-old at 3, you're not logical. You don't have to be logical. So what I would have you do if we were working together, do you have a bathtub? You have a bathtub?
I love my bath. I take a bath
Okay.
every night. Mm-hmm.
Good. All right. We're going to take a white bath, old school Southern conjure white bath. Going to light a candle, preferably a white candle, showing you're doing something sacred. You're doing something magical, ritual. Shut down your chatty left brain. Don't worry if you're remembering it correctly. It doesn't matter. It's perfect. Don't worry if you're exaggerating. It's perfect. In your tub, throw a handful of salt for cleansing, any kind of salt, handful of sugar for sweetness, and a cup of milk for nurturing. 2% whole milk cream, it doesn't matter, but not almond milk, not coconut milk, not oat milk, mother's milk, salt, sugar, milk. We're going back into the womb. Hot bath, get naked. That's how you get in the bath. Get in the bath just for a minute. You as a grown woman, a mother yourself, look back at that 3-year-old, what's going on, this wedding, your flower girl, all this responsibility, but just for a minute, because actually your grown-up memories don't matter so much because they're going to be colored by all your life experiences since then, your maturity since then, you're being a grown-up since then. So just like, oh yeah, this and this and this, and I had to be the grown. Then put 3-year-old little Kelly right in the bathroom with you, either in your head, imaginary, or just in the bathroom with you. And then don't remember anything. Listen to her. Let 3-year-old Kelly tell you her life, her thoughts on life and this marriage and magic and fantasy worlds and everything like that, and the imagination, everything that goes with it. And it's going to be a completely different story than your grown-up memory. Completely different story. And because it's coming from a 3-year-old understanding level, upset and joy level, confusion level, and more than anything else, maturity level. Because at that age, 3, I was seeing 3 because you have a couple things that aren't even logical. And that's when you hold your breath. Like, wait, what do I do now? What am I supposed to do now? What is correct to do now?
Kind of second guess yourself.
Yes, second guess yourself.
Yeah.
So hear what she's got wrong. A lot of stuff she says, you're going to go, yeah, wait, that's how I felt about life. Oh, wait, that's how I feel about life. Because it's true. Psychology will tell us. We set up so many of our belief systems and parameters really young. But this one you set up really, really young. You got it kind of wrong. It's not logical. You don't have to be logical at 3 when you're kind of caught up in things. So what you hear wrong, a lot of it, again, you're aware of. And some of it you're going to go, oh my God, I didn't know I thought that. Because it's not logical. But it'll make sense. And it could, because the wall was green means it's blue, means it's purple, means it's this. But you're going to go, oh my God. All it is for all, it's a false self-limiting belief system. A false self-limiting belief system about who you are and get you where you can crank it up, where you can open things up and not fit into the box. So false self-limiting belief system. And then you're going to go, oh my gosh, that makes sense. That's why at 12 years old, that's why at 18, blah, blah, blah. That's why maybe when my first kid was born, blah, blah, blah. That's why last week when so-and-so said something, or I'm going into my spiritual place and I hold my breath and take a step back for a second. It's not you. It's not grown up you. It's your 3-year-old you with this non-logical thing.
A blank slate and innocence and just purity for sure.
Yeah. So then when she's in the bathroom with you, just tell her what a gorgeous woman she grew up into. She doesn't know any of that, with 2 beautiful children. She doesn't know any of that. She's just, I'm flower girl and my life is different and I have to take care of all that. And it'll make sense to you. And then you'll be able to catch not holding your breath anymore, because that causes chatty brain. That's just the air element causes chatty brain and foggy brain. And we have enough of that without the not breathing part. And then you'll be able to crank up the dial on as you develop your gift and get out of your own way, with letting the logic out the door and letting the intuition take over.
You are amazing. That is great advice. And one of my cards it's a first quarter moon tonight. Did you know that? I'm sure you knew that. You already knew that. So my question, I knew that. I've got all the moon phases on my calendar. So what would you suggest? Well, that would be a perfect thing for me to do on the first quarter moon. Or is there
something to do?
Yeah.
It's doing new. I am all about moons. In my book, I have a chapter on moons, and it's simple. Follow moon cycles, you guys.
They've been doing it. I mean, different cultures have been doing it for centuries. And why do we have to complicate things?
We don't. It's just our bodies. We're like 55, 60% water. Our planet is 70% water. Moon runs the tides, like tides. We are the tides. If we tap into that, everybody knows, oh, the crazy full moon is crazy. Police officers and hospitals. If we follow every moon, if every full moon we get outside if we can, number one, be in gratitude for everything we have at least once a month. Thank you. Whoever you're thanking, God, the universe, your guides, your higher self, whatever. Just thank you for everything I have. Thank you for what this, and ask for what you want. Every belief system says you got to ask, whether that's thank you for this, and I want this. Thank you. It's a 2-day option. Don't get crazy with it. Every full moon. The next 2 weeks, while the moon is waning or getting smaller, wake up in the morning, go, the moon's waning. I'm going to let go of whatever's not serving me. It's when I always start a diet. It's a good time to quit smoking, or whatever to do. I'm giving up carbs, all those things we do. I'm not going to worry so much. I'm going to not take time for myself. To let go and release things on the waning moon is 10 times easier. Then when you get down to the new moon, the dark moon every month, that's when you do some contemplation. What do I want now? What do I want? Not what did I want last month? Not what does my family want for me or the world? What do I feel? Whether it's a 30-second, what do I want? Or I'll go meditate for an hour. And then the next 2 weeks, while the moon is waxing, getting bigger, that's when you add into your life more love, more money, more sex, ask for a raise, do exercise more, whatever that is. Now, all of a sudden, we are tapping into our tides with the moon, our 60% water, and we're doing what we always strive to do, consciously creating every day with literally 2 weeks of adding what we want and need, that celebration and gratitude and ask for what we have, the releasing of not good or bad, but what's no longer serving us, and the contemplation. It's just like breathing, what we all need to do. All of a sudden, just doing that, the good stuff in your life will get better faster and faster. The stuff you don't need so much anymore just falls away with the grace and ease of the moon and tides. It costs nothing. It takes 3 seconds a day. And
it's so simple and yet so powerful.
And so powerful. Again, in my work, in shamanism and witchcraft, it's when you do these kind of spells and when you do those kind of spells, it doesn't have to be spells. It's just live our life.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about witchcraft here. One of my questions that I have for you is, for some, that word witchcraft seems so scary and satanic and evil, and I don't like that connotation with the word witchcraft. So when someone comes to you with that and they say, and I'm sure you've had haters or questions in the past about that, how do you respond when they say, witchcraft is evil, it's from the devil, it's this? What is your response?
I tell them I haven't eaten a baby or worshiped the devil in weeks. I tell them the devil isn't even in my belief system or cosmology. That's a
Christian. Yeah, the Christian belief.
I worship land and life and cycles and the planet. There is nothing evil or negative. Quite the opposite. We take responsibility for what we do. Somebody can't just forgive you a Hail Mary or a forgive me, Jesus. No, we cause and effect, action and reaction. You actually, to go into the craft, you have to have a sense of what I call moral code, integrity, virtue, ethics. Because if you don't know right from wrong, don't do it, because you will get into trouble. If you don't know right from wrong, which we all should, again, that's born into us. We just kind of lost it along the way. Then you need a religion where somebody tells you what to do. This is the right thing. These are the 10 commandments. These are this. But if you actually go, wow, I'm going to create my life to be a witch again, and I know it means a couple different things. To be a witch can mean it's your religion. I am Wiccan. I worship the goddess. I am ceremonial. I study this. I am traditional British craft. I am Druid. I am Celtic. All the difference. It's kind of like saying Protestant versus Catholic versus Lutheran in a sense. So it can be your religion, your belief system. We have 8 Sabbats. Actually, they all align with the planet, the 4 equinoxes and everything in between. That's where Easter Bunny comes from. And
right.
So we celebrate life and the planet and nature, cycles of nature. God is in a tree. But again, nothing to do with Satan or any of that. It's just man did that. If I study religion, my grandfather was this big old psychoanalyst, psychologist, practically evangelical atheist. He came from Turkey, a doctor, and he studied religion, and he thought every religion was a weakness to science. He was a science academic. But I read he studied them all. I study them all. And I go, every religion has a truth. Every religion. It's just whatever template.
And they have more similarities than they do differences.
They're completely, if you take it down to energy, I see energy, my witchy thing. I see the cords between people. I see the energy. The auras. They, again, cut the cords, strings attached. I see energy. If you take away the words or the names, they're the same. Even my grandpa, I read his books now, even his academic science, it's like, it's the same thing. You just use academic science words instead of religious words, or instead of spirituality words, or instead of new age words. The through line of energy is the same. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Right.
So if you look at the truth, the universal truth, the spiritual truth, the humanity truth, they're the same. It's just whatever template you like. I think of it, your belief system, even if you choose to not have one, it's your roadmap. It's how we navigate life. It's like, here's the key on my roadmap. I need a traditional one. I need to make up my own. I want to be a Buddhist. I want to be a this. I want to be a that. It's just to help us navigate the roadmap.
Yeah, and the word witch, and I think I watched one of your interviews before with Richard Lale Lillard. Is that? Yes. He, you had said to him, and I had read this and I had studied this and watched this before, but the word witch was just nothing more than a wise woman.
Yes.
And that they didn't understand, they didn't know how to control, and they didn't know how, it was like, oh my gosh, this is getting out of control. What do we do? And they were kind of scared of some powerful alpha women that had some knowledge and
who knew what to do. They were the ones, birthing babies and living in the forest and handing herbs and oils to heal people, connected with the land, connected with nature, cycles, human cycles, earth cycles, planetary cycles. I think it was born in us. I think what I call witch blood, and some people call angel blood, and some people call ET blood. I would find myself, and I say this all the time, in my suburban backyard, grabbing rosemary off the bushes, grabbing mint off the bushes. All these plants, I would stuff them in my mom's wallet. I just knew that those plants would give her more money. She didn't quite understand that, but years later, you start studying apothecary and herbs and plants. It's like, oh, they draw money. It's born in.
One of my questions was, in your childhood, did you have someone that nurtured your gifts as a psychic, or did you have someone that kind of stifled you? Can you think of anyone that just like, I'm here for you, Patti. I believe you. I get you. What do you need? I will help you. Or did you have someone that said, you need to stop this. You're acting crazy. We can't have this in our home. Did you have any of those experiences?
Well, neither. I was right in the middle. I had really supportive family. My mom, I would tell her something like, she would say, we're going to go meet the neighbors. And I'd go, I went there last night. She's like, you did not go there last night. You're 5. And I'd explain the color of every room and the shape of the wallpaper. And I would ask her to travel. And she's like, yeah, Grandma did that. Or I would say somebody visited me last night and I would explain. She's like, oh yeah, Grandma did that. It was just kind of a matter of fact. I think she had it too. She was the most intuitive woman I know, but she just didn't take that cosmology or path upon her. So I was never taught out of me, but I didn't have anyone to teach me. I was, again, and coming from this very strong atheist grandfather, when religion was a dirty word, I would drive by and see any house of worship, a church, a temple, a synagogue, a mosque, a park. And I would see the energy coming off it and I'd want to go in. But I don't talk about that word, God. God's a word we don't use. I don't know what that is. And when I was 13, when you're just discovering boys, some evangelical church was having a concert with some really cute Christian rock band. And I wanted to see that really cute Christian rock band my friend told me about. I'm 13. It's like, and I was so scared to ask my mom if I could go to church on a Friday night with my girlfriend. I almost would have felt safer. Can I go to a rave? I'd already been going to like Grateful Dead concerts at 12, and I was started young. But I was so afraid to ask, can I go to a rave? Can I go to an orgy? Can I go to church? And my mom goes, and I'm like, huh? And my mom goes, you can do anything you want. And I'm like,
That's amazing.
yeah. And I became a seeker, just like grandpa. I'm going, okay, I'm going to look at some of my Jewish side roots. I'm going to go to temple, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go to Christianity. I don't like how they're so judgmental. I'm going to try Buddhism. I'm not real good on the Eastern thing. I'm going to try New Age. Hey, that's kind of squeaky clean. And then I kind of fell until I discovered paganism. Actually, the early Wiccan thing of the 80s, and the goddess and goddess. I'm like, ooh, this is good. It's earthy. This is what I've been doing my whole life anyway. And that was my starting point. And I was in with one coven forever, for 20 years. And now it's gotten such a wide path to include almost any kind of shamanic. I steal from everybody.
I'm a full-time teacher. I teach history at the high school, and that's one of our mottos is we steal and beg. We steal others' ideas in the classroom. Hey, that's a really good idea. Can I try that? And, all the teachers are really good about sharing their classroom ideas. This is what worked. This is what didn't. That's a really cute bulletin board. I'm going to use that, that type of thing. And that's what it sounds like you're talking about.
Yes, it's like, I just say, you throw it in a pot, you're making a stew. It's like, oh, I love this part of basic Christianity. I love this. And
it's kind of like eating the meat and then spitting out the bones. Eat what you need, take what you find valuable and worthy in your belief, but then leave what doesn't fit you.
Yeah. And you make your own menu. You make your own dish. You make your own dish. And that's what comes out of my stew pot is mine, but it works for me. And then even when I teach, I teach too, not like a school teacher like you, but I teach metaphysics. I teach spirituality. I teach for Nick. I teach for another house of intuition. And I always say, this is my truth. It doesn't have to be your truth, but let this be a jumping point to find your truth.
Yes. And I don't see like your energy and your vibe. And I'm really, really good about reading people's vibes and energy. I have not seen colors of aura yet, but I could walk into a room and see the negativity, feel the negativity, see the darkness or the light in people. I don't know what that's called, but I trust my intuition and my vibe 100%. It has never let me down. I would love to know, like, what advice would you give your younger self, for any younger audiences that maybe feel like they have this, they've tried it, they just need some advice? What advice would you give someone young that's dabbling in this?
I would teach them just to say yes to it for a second. Don't shut it down. Because I talk about that dance again from the logical brain and the intuitive brain. You have to dance between them. Otherwise, they shut themselves down. Like if you go, like you walk into a room, oh, the person in the back's angry. Or you can go, wow, I think my dead relative is standing behind me. If you go to logic, oh, that doesn't make sense. They're dead. You just shut it down. Just say yes. Oh, is dead grandma standing behind me? Oh, that person is having a bad day. You're an empath. Whatever that, just say yes, yes, yes. And you want to talk to it. You want to move on with it. Great. Grandma, is that you? Whatever. If you want to analyze it with your left brain, tell yourself you could do it in 2 hours. In 2 hours, if you go, was that really a spirit standing behind me? Or was I really reading the room like this? Or was that indigestion? Or was that, or is that somebody opened the window and I was in a bad mood? Then you could do it. But the more you say yes, in the craft, in witchcraft, I have a huge on-off switch because that's how I get through life being a sane person.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Is there times when you have to turn it off so you can just function?
All the time. That's why it makes the on so much better. When I switch on, it's like I can see everything, talk to everything. I'm really accurate. And when I turn it off, I can go to the grocery store and not see a dead mother in the aisle.
Yes.
Don't want to, not my business. It's not even appropriate in my belief system without being asked. And the stronger you have that divide of on and off, the stronger both sides get. It's the hedge witch. It's you dancing between. In witchcraft, you have your broom, your witch's broom. It's called the besom. How you fly isn't necessarily straddling it and go over the front. You fly between the worlds. So in a ritual working or a spell working, you would lay your broom down. On this side of the broom is the regular world. Gravity exists. You pay your rent. You do all that. The other side, magic happens. Anything is possible. Fairies, ghosts, spirits, angels, everything exists. And you leave one world to the other. And then you go, and then logic is out the door. Logic doesn't count for anything. And that's when the magic happens. And then you end that. And whether it's a spell working or investigation or a seance, and then you come back to the other world and you shut that down and go here. It makes both stronger, both way stronger, and it makes you live a sane life.
You are such a wise woman.
You have to, because I see so many people
Yeah.
and that get more and more gifted, and they get
burned. They're burned from both ends.
Or they're empaths. Like, you're very much an empath. All of a sudden, people start getting sick. It's like, how are you a healer when you were like the least healthy person I know? That doesn't compute. That doesn't compute. You can't. You're taking on that stuff. You have to learn to let go. You have to dance between.
Yes. Do you believe in reincarnation and past lives, and why?
I do, 100%.
Okay.
My closest belief
Good
system.
answer. I like that answer because I do
100%.
too.
My closest belief system is actually that of ancient Sumerians. Remember, I study religion. Ancient Sumerians, which is like Anunnakis, could be the aliens, the the Nephilim. They believe you went to the heaven you believed in. And in a sense, that means like if you live here and you go to that heaven, you go here. If you believe in the, sorry, that's outside, I don't know, there's song. If you believe in the pearly gates, you're going to create and go into the pearly gates. If I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be part of the great consciousness, Akashic, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get reincarnated. I think it's actually closest to the Matrix. I think not that we're in little pods being controlled by people, but we are, again, that part of we are these little baby humans. We don't know, but I've been talking to dead people my entire life. They are good and they are fine. They don't have space and time. They can go be their pearly gates, and they can be sitting by their fishing pod, and they could be looking at their window at their grandma, at their grandkids growing up, all at the same time. Most ghosts are good.
So peaceful and just refreshing to hear.
Yeah, and they're fine. Again, it's not like on the show, a ghost of everything else. We're going to the insane asylum. We're going to the prison. We're going to go where the serial killer lived. We're going back to the Cecil Hotel. It's not that. They're hanging out. They're at fun things. But for reincarnation, I was told, this is really funny. I was told, again, decades ago, that and this was in the 80s in the Shirley MacLaine days, and everybody was somebody famous, and she's out on a limb, and everybody's Cleopatra. And I was told that I was somebody, gave a name, never heard of her, Barbara Lamar, and I didn't know who it was. And I ran to a bookstore when we had bookstores, and there's a woman, she looked like your typical 1920s movie star, the round little white face and the bowed lips and the short brown hair, with the look of the day. And didn't look like me, but she had my eyes and she had my handwriting. And she was born, and she died at 30. I was born exactly 30 years later. And instead of dying at 30, I came into my power completely at 30. Well, we just went, whoo, I'm giving up all this human frailty stuff. So it's like, okay, maybe, but I don't know. It could be coincidence.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the universe starts throwing me in front of people. This person I'd never heard of, Barbara Lamar, silent film movie star. I would be in a grocery store and people would be talking about Barbara Lamar. I'm like, who are you? Why are you talking about her? Well, I'm writing a movie about her. Who is she? Why is she? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah. And somebody else.
Synchronicities kept happening.
Oh, my endless synchronicity. And then I'm going, okay, a little bit I read about her. She had a house in the Hollywood Hills. I have a house in the Hollywood Hills. I mean, if I built a house in 1920, whatever, I should know where it is. I didn't have an address, and there's hundreds of thousands of houses here. I drove around. All I saw was this roof, this red tile roof. And I go, because it's a downslope, it's a hill area. All you saw was a roof. And I went, oh my God, I know that house. That's the house. You didn't even see the house. You saw a wrought iron grate in a tile roof, Spanish style. I went, I know this house. And I didn't know any way to prove it. I go home. Again, the next week, there's a synchronicity. I'm at a grocery store. Somebody's going, Barbara Lamar, or one of those people I had talked to goes, do you want to see pictures of her? Come on over to my house. In those days you did. I go, okay. He goes, here she is at her house. Picture of a tile roof and that exact wrought iron gate with those exact numbers. I go, Whitley Heights. That's it. I go, I know the house. I was there. So I remember I drove to that house again, and I put a little note in the mailbox, and I didn't want to go, I think I might be the reincarnation. I said, I'm a fan of the silent movie star, Barbara Lamar, and I'd love to see the house. They, of course, didn't call me. Like, no. But years later, just a couple years ago now, somebody said her house was for sale. So I called up. I go, I want to come look at the house. I go, I'm not really looking to buy a house, but I'm president of my neighborhood association, and we always look for old in our classical neighborhood. So the girl goes, yeah, I'll meet you here. So she didn't show up. And I called her and she goes, oh, I know who you are. Here's the lockbox. Because my assistant was supposed to. I got in the house by myself, and it was like, again, divine intervention. I knew every inch of the house. I went through this weird, deja vu 100 times over. I've been here. I've done it. I knew every inch of the house. I knew what had been changed. I'm not even sure if I was there 5 minutes or 5 hours. It's like, oh, I used to stand in front of this window and look out here. I knew that my piano was here. I know I had a bookcase across here. It was wild. So then, okay, I am her. I'm buying it. We have a lot of the same issues of life, of lessons to learn along the way. Okay, I'm her. I give. And then I'm doing a seance, and she shows up. I'm like, what the heck?
Oh my goodness.
But it's essences of. Nobody is completely Cleopatra. And there's no time and space. Yes, she came to my seance. Yes, she's buried at Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Yes, I have her essences and parts of her karma and lessons to learn and memories. All of the above is true. It's pretty awesome, really. So it took me a long time to compute, but it works with my belief system of that creating that the place that we go to, that we are these divine beings. And we are not just divine beings, which makes us amazing. We were given free will by whoever, whatever, God, gods, universe, aliens. We have free will. To be divine creatures in free will, we should be unstoppable. We are unstoppable. That's what
we are. And I don't think we realize how smart and powerful and full of energy that we really are, and to use it to our abilities. I think we downplay every aspect of our lives. Our intuition, we don't value it enough. We second guess ourselves constantly. And that just goes along with what you were saying. Let's move on to the Cecil Hotel. So, all I can say is, wow, that was an incredible episode. He had to do 2 parts because it was so incredible, so long, so much evidence. And I think it's really cool that Zach and his crew value psychic mediums and what they have. Because he has a few others that he calls on. You're his go-to girl, though. But he really does value you and other psychic mediums and their power and what they have to say. And I think that's incredible that it's not just him and his crew, but he does bring in others for value and for information, so that he validates you, you validate them. Can you tell me, I mean, I watched it numerous times. I can't tell you how many times I watched it. Can you tell me the vibe, the energy that you got? I saw it on your body, on your face.
I didn't know where I was going. He does this every time.
Because haters are going to say,
I never get to know where I'm going.
You looked it up online. You knew what room you were going to. That's what.
No, Zach called me about 2 weeks before, and he said, "Hey, we're coming to LA. I need you. I'm going to call you." Okay, great. Didn't hear from him. 2 weeks later, I'm at my brother's house. I'm 30 miles away helping my brother do errands. He goes, "Hi, it's me. Can you get somewhere in 2 hours?" He gave me an address. I don't even think he said Cecil Hotel. He gave me an address downtown. I'm a girl. I'm thinking, 2 hours. Did I wash my hair today? Do I have to put on makeup?
And you are back, so you're going to be on TV. So you got to look your best for TV, right?
I mean, even though it's going to be dark and I'm going to be like, still, you're a girl. So I'm like, yeah, I can get there 2 hours. So I'm rushing, get home. And I'm parking, and you see the sign. That's the Cecil Hotel. All I remembered was Alyssa Lamb. All I remembered was a girl in the water tower. That's all. Girl in the water tower. But I'm walking up, and it's Skid Row, downtown LA. I'm walking up, and this rat did not want to let me in. I would go right, the rat would go right. I would go left, the rat would go left. We're dancing.
Like a real rat, like a rat, a big rat.
A big old downtown rat. They're everywhere there.
And they're huge. They're like cats, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're rats. They're cats. Yeah. But it's like, oh my God, either this rat's possessed or he's protecting me. I don't know. And I get in, and the building starts coming in on me. You just feel the oppression, everything. And I allow myself to, with that, I'm controlled to a thing, but on that show, I will let anything channel through me. I know I'm not going home with anything. I'm well trained. Don't do this at home, kids. But I do. I've got my protections on. So I just let it start taking me over. And it's just oppressing. It's coming in. And then all of a sudden, boom, right away, there's Zach. There's the whole crew. The cameras are strapped on already. And he goes, okay, Patti. And I'm like, he goes, okay, there's 14 floors. There's 700 rooms. You tell us where to go.
I mean, that's super cool. That's super cool.
And again, that's where you have to have faith. You have to shut down that left brain. You can't go, I don't know what room to go. And I just pushed in the elevator. I'm like, oh, I'm in that elevator. And then I took him right to the room where, again, I guess everybody thought I was going to jump out the window. I was watching it on TV. It's like, I don't remember that. I go very trance state. It's like, all I remember, I walked to the window. I'm thinking, I got to get out of here. When I go into that baby voice, I got to get out of here. Why is Zach yelling at me? He never yells at me. And I'm just like, why is Zach yelling? Because he was yelling even more than you saw. I think he's willing to sit down. Why is he yelling at me? It's like, sit down. So I sit down. And that's when that little ghosty thing came. And I guess I led them right to a room where somebody jumped out that exact window. And then, okay, let's leave the room. And I'm like, ugh. So I lead them to another room. And all of a sudden, I'm so being attacked. I'm just, I'm covering myself, and I'm just
right. Because you were feeling the rape victim at that point.
Yes, and the part of me that's still conscious is like, Zach's going, where are you? What's going on? Where are you being tagged? And the part of me that's still Patti going, I'm on TV, is like, how do you say that body part on television? And I don't know what I said, lady parts or female parts.
Yeah.
It was wild. But we got all sorts of, there's a whole other episode if they ever do it. I got so much stuff in this hallway. This one thing, this spirit that had this thing about Billy and was saying his name. They were there 4 days. I was there 2 nights. They were there 4 nights. There's a dozen episodes there, but they fit it into their 2 hours. But it was crazy. It was
I absolutely love them. And it kind of makes me sad. I'm gonna come to their defense because I've had some people that don't like them. I absolutely love them. I think he has made paranormal cool. I don't know how else to say it, but it makes it common where people can understand that he's a great storyteller, where he can bring the background, the history behind it, and the evidence, and brings it all together. He's a great editor. He really knows how to present the paranormal that an everyday person can understand and appreciate. And I've loved the show from, like I said, from episode 1 to day 1.
He's part of bringing back the mysticism. And why it's in its 24th season is that they are committed. There is nothing fake. Believe me, I do. They will literally blindfold me, put me in the trunk of a car, in sweat. Here's an address, go to. I don't know that there was a double murder in that. I don't know, no hints, no anything. Fly to Scottsdale, do this, do that. He wants it real and in the moment, no storytelling, whatever. And the reason that they're so good, that some people make fun, it's just their commitment. They have it 120%. They are there. It's like when you see a kid playing in that 6-year-old in the TED Pod, they're 120%. So that's
you would be more mad if they weren't that dedicated to it. Wow. I think there's nothing wrong with being that dedicated, because if they weren't that dedicated, you would have something to say.
They would be off. They're completely engrossed, completely enrolled, completely committed, completely. And that's why it lasts. Even if some people are going to make fun, because I remember, who's the, big old guys in tight t-shirts who march into a room in the olden days when they used to provoke it. Come on, ghost, and then run like little girls. Yeah. Pin drop. But that's the commitment. That was like that passion of life, that anything could happen. And that they are the amazing. The closest to that, what's coming up is, I've been working with them, and I've just spent another night at the Cecil Hotel, is the TFIL crew. They're YouTubers. It's Elton. Okay. I just did, they just aired part 1, which I'm not in. I think part 2, 3, 4. They rented out the entire Cecil Hotel as well. And I can't say what we did yet, but holy moly. That place is insane. The 22nd, I think Thursday, it was going to drop on Wednesday, but parts two, I think the second part, but we ended up on the roof a lot, doing crazy stuff
Oh, wow.
a lot. That place is insane. There is something.
Well, I mean, it's just layers upon layers upon layers of death and emotion and just like killers and suicide. I mean, I don't know of something that is so layered with so much negative energy.
It's got an egregore. It's got a created spirit. Whatever, I'm sure there's something in the land that channeled whatever that was, whatever that was, because that whole area downtown. So there's something in the ground. And then it was built up, and then it was, after the Depression, it
Right.
came, so it was a down and out people. Lots of drugs. Bad drugs bring in bad spirits. It was a flop house. The places I can't clear, the places that get the bad spirits are places where there's serious addiction problems. Period. It's just how it is.
Right.
So, but something has been created there. Again, we create spirits all the time. Some big, demonic, like egregore, I think self-created, that is holding it's holding spirits there. There is a lot of stuck spirits there. And it's affecting living people. So it's making more people overdose. It's making more people jump out windows. It's making more, drawing in the serial killers and murderers. And it's affecting both sides. I've never been anywhere that has ghosts stuck there and making living humans do things. It's oppressive and huge.
I want to go there one day. You'll have to come with me.
I'll come with you. Let's go.
I don't want to go there without you, girl. All right, let's play a game.
Okay.
Go back to Ghost Adventures. I want you to describe the 4 guys in the Ghost Adventures crew in one word. So I'm going to give you their names, and you spit out the first word that comes to mind. Aaron.
Wild.
Zach.
Intense.
Billy.
Palo Santo.
What?
Palo Santo. He's Mr. Palo Santo wood.
Palo Santo, the wood that you burn for cleansing.
Yeah, he's the king. He told me where you buy it in Mass years ago. I mean, he's great. I can give you love, funny, great, all sorts of words about him. But if you want my first word out,
okay.
Palo Santo man.
Jay.
Research.
Ooh, yes.
He's becoming research guy. He really over the years, but he looks into things. They're all great. They're all real friends. They're all real guys. I think I fit in so well with them because they're regular guy. I'm married to a drummer. My husband and I produce this huge drum show, like the world's second largest drum show. I'm used to these. I'll be in a room with 1,000 guys and like 4 women, and they're guys. They're just like these guys. They're not paranormal guys. They're drummer guys, but it's just my world. So I get it.
Yeah. You're not fazed by all that testosterone.
Nah.
All right. So one of my last questions, because you've answered so many without me even having to ask you, because you're such a psychic, is, and I think I already know this one, and you've probably already answered this one too. You can do readings through computers, through technology. So spirits can come through, because I know you do Zoom, because I've watched the haunted paranormal things, the Haunted Diaries Paranormal School, and you do teachings and readings through the computer, through Zoom. How do you think that works? I mean, is it just as accurate? You can just read through that.
Very well. It works. Yes. Again, everything is energy. No time and space on the other side, whether you're doing a tarot reading or a past life thing, or you're doing a seance, or you're doing a mediumship. No time and space the other side. Everything is energy. Everything is kind of like electricity. This little computer thing, this little thing is electricity. The best example of it is seances. My seances.
Mm-hmm.
I spent, decades doing 13 people around my dining room table. And then, I'm doing 600 people at a college in a mediumship reading. Now there's 25 heads on a Zoom screen. Exactly the same. I'm feeling the energy in each space. We could see and feel to each person. It's just because if time and space doesn't exist and everything's connected by energy, what are electronics? They're energy.
Right. And when you do a paranormal investigation, they feed off of it and they pull it to manifest and to use. So, 100%, I would totally believe that in any capacity. I would love to pay for a reading sometime. Obviously,
Come just do one. You don't have to pay for it.
oh, honey, boo boo, you do nothing. If you're good at something, don't do anything for free. You're good at this.
But you're my little sister.
Yes, and my last name is Negri, or your last name is unexplained, whichever one you want. It has been an absolute pleasure. It's been an hour, and I know you are a busy, busy woman. I will see you again at Texas Paracon in August. I'm going to be there. Would you mind taking several pictures with me?
I would love to take several pictures of you. I cannot wait.
Yes.
Live stuff is starting again. In 2 weeks, I'm flying to Salem. We get to come out again. I've got my second COVID shot. I'm so excited.
You're good to go. So that is on my bucket list too. So have you ever been to Salem?
I haven't. It's my first time. I'm so excited. I'm doing vampire seances, readings, ritual. I'm so excited.
You are the bomb.com. I love you. And if you've never used that, you can have it. It's yours. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. It has been a pleasure. I've learned so much, and I would pay for a million different lessons with you. You are so wise beyond your years and beautiful, and your energy is absolutely out of this world. And I love you, and I can't get enough of you. So you are the sweetest lady I think I've ever met, and you're absolutely beautiful.
And you're pretty sweet too, little sister. So yes.
All right. Have a great rest of your evening, Patti, and don't work too hard. Give yourself that break. And I'm going to go take that bath that you told me to take.
Salt, sugar, milk.
Yes. And I'm there.
Okay.
Bye.